expressions tonight. I had unexpected dental surgery yesterday and limited functionality. So Ramana Maharshi, the great Indian sage from the last century, had a teaching that he's probably best known for. And the teaching was basically, ask yourself, who am I? That was actually his fallback teaching. His first teaching was just be silent. And since most people had difficulty with that one, he went to plan B, which is ask yourself, who am I? And so what many people did with that is went looking for this I, this me, the spiritual one, the elevated one, the one that I really want to be. And so we can spend a long time looking for this sort of elevated sense of self, right? And so in some sense, it was a wild goose chase. Ramana never struck me as a tricky kind of guy, but many people took that instruction and went looking for this personal me. Who am I? I know it's there. Ramana said it was there. I just have to find it. And we go looking for that. We sit down and try to be quiet and ask ourselves, who am I? And we look and we can't find it. Right? So we conclude, well, I did something wrong. I just have to buckle down and look harder, meditate more, be harder on myself, improve my, faults, correct my karma. I've got to do something in order to become worthy of discovering this I, this self that Ramana told me was there. So we can spend a long time trying to do that. But as my teacher, Adyashanti, said more than once, is that we get the right answer the first time we look. We look inside, look beyond, those thoughts and all, and nothing. Quiet. There's no improved personal self to be found. And this is confusing to the mind, and it doesn't seem to qualify for what we think we should be able to find, namely this personal, elevated, improved self, my higher self. Do we think we made the mistake, so we buckle down and try to do it better? And we can spend a lifetime doing that, looking for this improved personal self. But the answer is right there the first time we look, when we actually look within, beyond all the psychology, beyond all the ideas and dogma and teachings and opinions, and we just look directly for ourselves, just quiet. Not a dead quiet, not a empty, dark, void kind of quiet, just empty of whatever we take ourselves to be. We find that there's something that is other than and inclusive of all of these things that we take ourselves to be. All our history, our storyline, our ideas, our hopes, our dreams, our regrets, our opinions, our judgments, self-judgments, judgments of other people, all of that entire package, all the self-evaluations, all the limitations, all the doubt, all of it, that whole entire package. And it's possible to see that is true as far as this body-mind organism is concerned, relatively true. Those things in my storyline did happen. I do have the skill set, I do have these opinions. All of that's relatively true, and we don't have to deny any of it. And yet, that doesn't come close to defining the entirety of what we are. Because there's something that is aware of all of that. In fact, all of that is happening and only happening within this field of awareness that is already present. So it's similar when you go to bed and dream at night, and the dream character, you may notice, is always you, right? Always this personal, there's always this personal self as the dream character, and then things appear within the dream. And one of the characteristics of a dream is that, except for lucid dreaming, we never doubt the content of the dream. Some of the content may be true in the waking state, the so-called waking state during the daytime, and some of it may not be true. Some of it may be just random or things that we know not to be true in the waking state. And yet, in our dreams, all of that appears real. We take it to be real. We get chased and we're frightened. We have a beautiful experience and we're happy. We take it to be real. And in a sense, it is real. It's real in that appearance, those visuals, those talking characters are real to the dream character, are real to our consciousness in that setting. They're not real in the sense that they exist outside of the dream, like we may be dreaming that we're sitting on, top of a big mountain. The mountain that we're dreaming of isn't actually present in the dream state, but the image of it is, so it's as real as it gets in the dream state. And when we're in the so-called waking state during the daytime hours, the presumption is, oh, finally now I'm in an environment where I am aware of something that has objective reality outside of myself. Whether I'm awake or not, the outside world and all these other people exist and goes on without me. And that may be true, but we have no way to prove that it's true. All that we know is that when we're awake in this particular conscious state, that is the appearance, and we take it to be real in very much the same way that we took the dream state to be real. But same as in the dream state, our only way of knowing it is an appearance within awareness. So even our own body-mind, this organism that we call me, that we're certain contains a personal self in there somewhere. We're not quite sure where it is, but if someone asked us, most people would say, "Oh, I'm here," or they might say, "I'm here," if they're particularly top-heavy. Most people wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm here, and I'm in my elbow or my foot," or there's certain places that feel like this must be where the real me is housed. But the only way that we're even aware of these sensations in our body is that they appear in consciousness. We can look down, we can see the body, we can touch it, We can sense it internally if we have a pain or a full belly or something. But it's these perceptions by which we know that we have a body. We can notice the thoughts in our mind, and so we are aware of the thoughts in our mind. Without the awareness, whether the brain was thinking or not thinking, who would know? Because one thought doesn't know another thought. Awareness is what is aware of whatever thoughts may be happening. So very much like the dream at night, our entire experience is an appearance within awareness. That's when we look directly for ourselves, set aside everything that we know or think we know about biology and theology and mysticism and everything else, and just be willing to look for ourselves on our own authority. What we find is this awareness. And what we typically think is, what has continuity, the sense of continuity through this lifetime, is this body-mind. And then when we hear someone talk about awareness, it can feel sort of elusive, like, well, maybe sometimes if the circumstances are right, I can access that. If everything's just right, quiet, nobody's yelling, kids are quiet, street noises died down, maybe then I can access this awareness. So there's this belief that the body-mind is what's permanent and continuous, and then this awareness is sort of elusive, sort of out on the fringe somewhere, and sometimes we get a glimpse of it. But the reverse is actually true. It's actually the awareness that's ever present, steadfast, loyal. And the body-mind certainly changes over time. The cells change, ideas change, health changes, circumstances, everything changes. And yet this awareness is always present. So we can spend a lifetime trying to refine how this body-mind operates, which is good. It has health benefits and probably employment benefits and financial benefits and so on. That's fine. But ultimately, all of that one day will be taken away. However, there's something that doesn't decay over time. And that is just this innate capacity of awareness. But it's without any attributes, except for its capacity to be knowingly present for what's ever happening, which is the whole ballgame. Not knowingly present, we would have no idea whether the world existed or not, whether we existed or not. It's all dependent on this capacity for awareness. And fortunately, it's not something that we have to earn. It's not something that we have to become worthy of. It's not something that we have to meditate for so many hours, for so many years to get a glimpse of. It's not hair's width distant from what you already are. It is that essential beingness. And everything else happens within that totally mysterious, amazing capacity to be aware of whatever it is that's happening. But this awareness isn't what we expect to find, so we overlook it. We expect to find this improved personal self. And that's what we wake up from. We wake up out of this innocent misperception that what I am is separate from the whole. Just a belief. So what we wake up from is a belief, an assumption, innocent. We didn't decide one day when we were growing up that I really want to feel alienated from everything that's happening around me. I really want to feel discomfort in the world. We didn't do that. It's an assumption that was taken on along the way. And it may take a devoted sense of looking for ourselves in our own direct experience, not a belief, just direct looking to see what is actually true. Once we begin to look within and get through all the psychology and ideas and opinions and self-doubts and judgments and regrets and all of that, once we get through all of that and see that all of those may be relatively true, but they're sort of like froth on the surface of the ocean, and once we sink down a little deeper, we can see that beneath all of that there has always been this sense of this quiet presence. We may not have paid any attention to it, but it's always been there. It's always what has been living this life. And the thinking mind has sort of commandeered it, because it was so quiet, because the awareness was so quiet, and it's not insisting. The awareness never says, look at me, don't forget about me. It doesn't do that. It doesn't have to do that because it's actually the only thing that is happening. And it's more than willing to allow us to have the full human experience, explore everything that we'd ever be drawn to explore, make mistakes, go down certain dead ends, get disappointed, back up, try again. It's willing to allow us to do all of that. It almost seems necessary for humans to try every possible alternative other than coming back to what we have always been, this quiet immensity of spacious silence, alive, mysterious, all-inclusive, by whatever name you prefer. And so when we finally get around to recognize the utterly unique quality of this awareness, it surprises us. It surprises us because what we've been searching for, some state of peace, of feeling at home in this world, at ease in our own skin, that sense, that possibility has always been there, just awaiting our recognition. But it's not what we expect, and that's how we miss it. But one day we don't. One day it's like, oh, that? Yes, that. Curiously absent, open immensity of being that you already are. So it's actually, for all the talk about enlightenment, it's actually not a special state. It's not special because everybody actually is already that. Some people know it, many people don't. The only difference. So when it's recognized, there can be some elation, some, bliss, beautiful, wonderful, but that sense of specialness, as in special compared to other people, hopefully that is seen for what it is if it arises, and it's like, and then what's left is sort of a compassion for this human condition and propensity for unnecessary suffering, self-inflicted. But on the other hand, that suffering seems to be necessary to push us, nudge us in the direction of recognizing that which we've always been, this sense of true nature. So nothing ultimately is wasted.